Oh, good morning, Knicks family. It's your guy Hector, aka host of the Knicks Morning Brew, and I'm chilling with my other host, my man Pots and Pan. You see the name? He's Josh Hart's number one fan, Fabulous Phil. Good morning.
Good morning, my man. How you doing? I feel good this morning. You feel good?
I'm feeling extra hype. You see me? I got the pink Biggie shirt on, so I'm ready to get into this
You
conversation.
do.
How about
You
you?
do.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I wake up in the morning, grab some coffee. I show up, and you rocking a pink Notorious shirt. My day cannot get any better to start. So we're gonna have a great show. We got hip hop, we got basketball. Like, what else can I want? Biggie Smalls,
Let's
the
go.
realest,
Let's
till the
let's
day I
let's
die.
drop the intro for the folks. Let's drop that intro. Great morning, good rising, my people. Knicks Nation, stand up. KOD Universe, stand up. And all you degens, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome to this Wednesday, February 15th edition of the Knicks Morning Brew. I'm your guy, Hector. Like I said, I'm chilling with my boy, the fabulous Phil. Philip, a good morning.
Good morning, brother. How you doing this morning? You feeling all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just, feeling good after the Knicks win. It's two in a row. Josh Hart is killing them out there. We got people in the chat already. TC Stills is in the building. TC Stills, good morning. My man, Nice. Delo Mio is in the building. Nice. What it do? My guy, JJ. Salute, salute, salute. And if you guys can, like we said, the Morning Brew is moving over to its own channel. I put the link in the description right now. Make sure you follow the Morning Brew Sports, Yankees Morning Brew, Knicks Morning Brew, and another show that we will be teasing later on will be coming to the channel. Philip, bro, I know you excited, right? Because I'm gonna put this up there real quick. Our boys, when it comes to the New York Knicks, we put the spanking on the Brooklyn Nets 124 to
Yep.
126. When you look at this, bro, how are you feeling? I know a lot of Net fans, they out there still talking dirty, but as a Knicks fan, how do you feel?
Honestly, bro, I'm excited. I know a lot of people discredit, Brooklyn based off the fact that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving aren't there anymore. But my whole thing is, yes, we struggled against that team. Um, but it was not really like the well-oiled machine that you would think when you think of like stars like that being on the team. There was a lot of ups and downs from the court to the newspapers. Now they got guys that can actually ball and a lot more of them. Like it's not just the two guys you got to be worried about. They got actual like roster spots that are filled in depth now. They have depth through the bench. So I personally can see that, in a competitive series being more of a challenge, in a 7-game series, because you can't hope that Kevin Durant or Kyrie are tired and, that's where the game starts to fall apart. They have a good solid roster now. You can't knock Dorian Finney-Smith. You definitely can't knock
Mhm.
Spencer Dinwiddie. You can't knock, Mikal Bridges for sure. So
Facts.
they have a great squad, and they were talking about it in the broadcast. Most of those guys have been either elite defender, like
Mhm.
highlight for that year, or runner ups, or part of the first unit of the defensive, roster highlights for the year. So it's a lot of guys that are great defenders, and we rose to the occasion, So I was ecstatic to watch that game. Honestly, it could have been one of my favorite Nick performances this season.
No, 100%. Let me do a roll call real quick because we got a few extra people that jumped into the conversation. My man DSJ is in the building. The only troll we acknowledge is Delano Stills. Eric Wallace, my man EY is in the building. He said, "Hey, Heck, I'm glad you took the day off yesterday to refresh." Yeah, I took the day off yesterday for some Valentine's, but then family situations popped up, so it really wasn't a real day off. Shout out my man Chris Joseph is in the building. Chris, what it do? My man Bones is in the building. Bones, what it do? Shout out my mans from the VSN network. Salute. And if you guys can, I put the link again down in the description. If you guys can please follow the new channel, like I said, the Morning Brew Sports, just so you guys know. Follow this new channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button as well. The Morning Brew Sports, that's where we'll be housing all of our content going forward. TC still says, salute to Hector and Phil in the chat. Yes, sir. Bro, when we're having that conversation about the game, right? Because we could go into it. You know, you brought up a great point talking about the Nets, because they literally look like, and they feel like they have all the best 3-and-D defenders in the East on their team. When you have Dorian Finney-Smith, when you have Mikal Bridges, and so on, right? Claxton as well, phenomenal defender as well. But the big takeaway for me, right? And put aside any negativity, right? We're gonna save that for later on. But Josh Hart off the bench, you already know where I was going with that. Josh Hart off the bench, 28 minutes played, 27 points, right? Since Josh Hart has been in the lineup, the New York Knicks, we are 2-0 since he's been in the lineup. I get it. Small sample size. I get that. But so far, Josh Hart, man, he's giving us that jolt. He's giving us that extra boost of energy, right? When you look back to the season when the Knicks went to the 4th seed, yes, we lost to the first round to the Atlanta Hawks, but the big trade that we made that gave our team that second win, that second energy, was the Derrick Rose trade, right? Getting D Rose to this team in the middle of the season, right before the trade deadline. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks before the trade deadline. That gave us a bit of spark, a bit of energy. And that's the same thing we're seeing with Josh Hart, if not more.
Yeah.
You know, both games impacting both offensively, defensively as well. You see, he doesn't stand still when he doesn't have the ball. He's moving around, trying to get open. Josh Hart, he's top 5 in the NBA when it comes to finishing at the rim. He's shooting 70% when he's at the rim. I get it. We all love RJ Barrett. We all love Quentin Grimes. But there's some guys that Josh Hart, he's knocking on that door. And you guys got to step it up. Hopefully, this is some welcome competitiveness when it comes to this lineup, right? Hopefully, both players that I mentioned, Quentin Grimes and RJ Barrett, they could feed off of what Josh Hart is providing this team. That way they can step it up as well. Because Phil, you know, as someone who does photography, if you're in a room with another photographer that is amazing at what he does, you're going to thrive off of the competition and try to outshine, right? So hopefully that's the same thing that happens to RJ Barrett and Quentin Grimes, bro. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so a few things. First, when it comes to the photography thing, yes and no. What I've noticed a lot, is that
appreciate you, Alan.
There are 2 ways that people can handle that scenario. So whenever I was trying to get better at my craft, I would want to be around photographers that were better. Like I would ask if I could shoot alongside them because I wanted to improve myself. But what I've noticed is when I do workshops, there are 2 different kinds of people. Those that have that same kind of mentality as, okay, this person is better. I'm in the room with them. This is an opportunity for me to grow. And then there's those that go, I'm intimidated. I'm not going to ever be that. And they buckle under that kind of pressure and never allow themselves to actually experience something good from that situation. So these players have the opportunity to either say, okay, this guy thrives in areas that I don't. What can I do? I want it to be like a wildfire. I want to press up against what's going on there, have it kind of pour out and infect me as well. And then some can go, yo, I'm going to buckle. And that's what I don't want to see, especially from someone like RJ. This can help RJ. But is he going to rise to the occasion and see it as an opportunity?
Not sure if you're frozen there, but I think you said, will he rise up to the occasion and see it as an opportunity to take advantage of? My fault, Phil. You froze at the last part. What was the last thing you
Oh,
said?
no. Yeah. So I don't want him to like crack under that pressure and not see it as that opportunity to get better. Because that's the one thing that RJ needs to do in this situation is say, how can I make the best of it so that our team becomes better, not to see it as competition or to see it as replacement, but see it as opportunity to grow in the areas where his game is weak.
Mm-hmm. And also as well, a big takeaway from these past few games, Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson has to be named to the All-Star game. I know there's a lot of players that they may be out because of injuries. I know Jalen Brown has a face fracture. Take your time off. Let someone else get some sign, especially Jalen Brunson. You're in charge of you're the president of the union, right? For the players union. So as the president of the players union, take a step back and allow another player who should be in the All-Star game make it to the All-Star game. Over the past 20 games, our guy Jalen Brunson, Phil, you ready for this? I know you like numbers. Over the past 20 games, our guy Jalen Brunson is averaging 30 points per game over the past 20 games, not the past 5 games, not the past 8 games or 10 games. Over the past 20 games, Jalen Brunson is averaging 30 points per game. Phil, what's your take on that? Or if Phil is frozen, let me know in the chat what you guys think about that. Because when it comes to Jalen Brunson is balling out. People in the chat, let me know what you guys think. Over the past 20 games, like I said, Jalen Brunson is averaging a cool 30 points per game. So let me know what you guys think. But let me shout out the chat as we go, and then as I wait for my man Phil to come back.
Boom!
Alan
One
Landsman.
gets down, another one shows up. Listen, one portal taps out, another portal taps in. What up, Hector? What up, my guy? What up,
Chilling,
chat?
bro. Chilling.
You talking about Brunson? I tuned in right on time.
I'm talking about Brunson, bro.
Bro,
what's
New York Post is saying Jalen Brunson could already be the Knicks' best free agent signing ever.
That's not a hot take. That's reality, bro. Because when you look at, and granted that may be a reflection on the organization, but when you look at it, Jalen Brunson has been the best free agent that we have signed when it comes to this franchise. Name me a better one besides Jalen Brunson. I would say Larry Johnson, probably the best free agent signing this team did. Maybe Allen Houston, but Allen Houston got injured. Tyson Chandler won Defensive Player of the Year with us. But when it comes to impact, Jalen Brunson is the most impactful free agent that we have had. Phil, my man Phil, he's back. Sorry, Phil, you had booted out for a second. But Phil, what's your take? Is he frozen again? I think he froze again. My fault. Gonna go with my apologies. But bro, what's your take on Jalen Brunson averaging 30 points over the last 20 games?
Bro, I mean, the dude's killing it every which way. I mean, he's so shifty, man. Like, I enjoy watching him play, right? When he's on, he's on. And the other night, it was just a freaking clinic, bro. Like, even when he wasn't even having a flop as much as he likes to flop, right? When he gets fouled, like, it was purposely happening. Just he found every single way to find his shot, man. And even the assist game, like, there was something about these last 2 games, especially, bro, that you just see that dog in him, right? And especially with Hart coming out with him, you're just seeing a different grit in these guys. And man, I mean, at this point, nobody can not Brunson him. All right, they can't. Like, how you're just talking just to talk at this point when you're talking negative about the guy. Phil, you on frozen? Definitely. Oh, he's back.
Bro, I don't know what's going on. My home internet's having tons of issues, so I'm connected to my phone right now. So we'll see how this goes. But when it comes to Jalen Brunson, I see this quote right here. Jay been balling, but his assists have gone down. I actually want to combat that, Chris Joseph, because I've talked about this the other day. We're kind of in a different weird NBA right now. Like, if we look at the most assists in the league, I think in the entirety of the league, he's like at 18 or 19. And that is surpassing players like Kyrie Irving, Shea Gilchrist-Alexander, and a whole bunch of other point guards that everyone's talking about how they are elite point guards. The problem is that for most of the season, it has looked bad that his assists have been down because in his ISO ball, a lot of shots have been forced. Like, unfortunately, that's where people would get very, very frustrated and be like, this kid doesn't pass. But now, these last 2 games, you see that he doesn't have to force shots because the team is actually playing like a team and players are actually having to defend other players. And you're seeing a consistency, even with guys like Julius Randle. He's not having great numbers, but he's having better games. None of us are complaining about Julius Randle. Why? Because he's playing a part. He's not trying to be the team. He's playing as a team. And having Josh Hart here has really helped as well because it's kept the momentum going where when he's out there, people can't stop because this kid loves to move. And he does it in a way that Grimes does it as well. And now nonstop in 4 quarters of basketball, you have a player that's going to be nonstop moving. And that's going to be something different than our slow, who gets the ball, who shoots it kind of game plan that we've had previously. So these last 2 games, you see the flow a lot easier. You see ISO situations come a lot more natural for Jalen Brunson, where we're not complaining about 4 shots because his shooting percentage is insane because in his ISO ball, he's taking good shots, not 4 shots. And so speaking of that, I wanted to touch on this because I thought it was the coolest stat ever when I was looking at it the other day. But in that game last night,
I like how Nice
2 nights
said,
ago,
I like Nice saying, hey, with field goal percentage like his, why pass?
Facts.
Take the shot, right?
Yeah,
We're at that point.
Exactly.
that's true too. And so shooting percentage, crazy. First time I've ever seen this. Maybe you guys have seen it. But him and Jalen Brunson, even though they shot a different amount of shots, they both had the exact same field goal percentage of 71.4 from the field, but they also had the same exact 3-point percentage of 66.7%. Like, both of them, they are that in tune with each other that it's like even their field goal percentages have to match. Their laughter has matched.
Bro, you got to make another shot. You got to make another shot, bro. You're only at 65.6. Get another shot.
But to another point that Nice made when talking about Jalen Brunson, I think he mixed the words up here, but he says, guy doesn't deserve to be snubbed from here on out. Kid has transformed into someone different. If that's the case, keep snubbing him while he proves the league wrong day in and day out. And I 100% agree with that.
For
right?
real.
Phil,
He's come out with an anger.
100%. Phil, before you got frozen, I brought up the fact that over the past 20 games, Jalen Brunson has been averaging over 30 points per game. Have you remembered a stretch from any Knicks player over the past 20 years that has averaged that much and has been that impactful to this team? I love Carmelo Anthony. I love what Amari Stoudemire has done. But the impact that Jalen Brunson has done for this team from one year to the other, we literally have the same team minus the addition of Josh Hart that just came over the past few weeks. I mean, the past week. Literally the same team we have. And the difference is a stark difference comparison when you look at last year's team to this year's team. And there's only one factor that you could point to, and that's Jalen Brunson. That's definitely Jalen Brunson. He is the biggest X factor this offseason. And like the New York Post said, he is the best and he is the biggest free agent and best free agent this franchise have signed. I get it. I understand. That's more of a reflection on our organization. Screw it. I don't care if it is. But even if it is, it's still a fact. Jalen Brunson has been the best free agent that we went out there to sign. Go ahead, Phil. My fault.
Yeah, no. And yeah, I would say like this is Carmelo style, signing, like I think that if you look at it, Carmelo had a great first season with the Knicks, like 26 or 27, something like that, points per game. I know he, averaged at least 6 rebounds per game. And so it's very much on that level. I think the difference is that in order to get the Carmelo trade to happen, we bankrupted ourselves as an agency. Like we put a lot into that basket to make Carmelo the guy. With Jalen Brunson, it's a lot more hopeful of a signing because we have that guy, but we also have good pieces around him that can then contend, so we did a win now kind of move with Carmelo without a win now type of team. Like it just wasn't a wise decision. As opposed to now, Jalen Brunson, he can help us get to that next spot. Like he is that guy. He is playing an excellent, game in and game out. He has been playing excellent. I don't know the last time I actually complained about Jalen Brunson and what he did in the game. He's become very clutch.
How crazy is it? We can sit here. You ready? Guys, we have a really good signing. Guys, we made a decent trade. Guys, we're seeing our young guys play. Guys, we're having people on the bench that are actually getting minutes. It's a whole new world. This is a different Knicks world. Like, I don't know where we are right now. Like, it's crazy to see this, but I wanted to share this one with you guys because I love this one. You ready? 40 plus 27 equals a Nets spanking. And I brought it up because in the chat, I'm already seeing people. Jonathan says, do you see Hart on the team next year? What type of contract do you guys see? So I'll start with you, Heck. With Jonathan's stuff, I mean, do you see how the Hart on the team, and what kind of contract?
This front office, they have to do everything they can, even if he opts out, to re-sign this man. Offer him a 3-year, $48 million contract, $16 million per season. Throw in that 4th year as a team option, with the vesting part of it being if the team rejects it, he still gets half of that money as a buyout. Right. So, yes, I 100% this front office, they have to do whatever they can to re-sign this man, Josh Hart. And what's going to be very interesting this offseason is what this team does with the pieces that they already have. We'll talk about that later on, but Evan Fournier's contract is going to look a lot more appealing next year and next offseason because of an expiring deal that it is. So, yeah, we'll save that conversation for later. But, yeah, this front office, they have to do everything they can to make sure they sign this man in free agency. Right. If not, why even do this? You're teasing us. Why make a move like this? Why have this player show how good he is, and then he leaves us?
But bro, you can't say that with our Knicks.
I can. I have PTSD.
We traded for Cam Reddish. Okay, and where's that guy? Where'd that go? You can't. Not with the front office.
Knowing this team, I wouldn't be surprised if this man was to walk in the offseason, knock on wood, and then we go out there and sign Kevin Knox because he did good with the Sacramento Kings. Come on, get out of here.
Shut up, Phil.
Come on.
Yeah, to me, there's many things that I dislike about the front office. However, in my opinion, there is no way that they have not already discussed this with Josh Hart. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I think that even before this trade happened, with the relationship that he has with Jalen Brunson, with the fact that he was, he was managed by our coach, the fact that he has that relationship with Papa Brunson, like they are a close knit. There is no way they did not talk about this previous to making the offer on the trade. There is no way that he did not give some kind of verbal commitment to them, like, yes, I will re-sign. Everything just kind of makes sense that they would have done that. The way they tampered with Brunson, I know that they talked to him before they talked to Portland. So I do believe that this is a 2-person thing. Like, at first we used to say it was Tibbs and Randall's team. No, it's Tibb and Brunson's team. So with the Cam Reddish thing, we made that trade, yes, to not use him, but Tibbs never wanted him there. Tibbs wants Brunson there. Like, Tibbs wants Brunson there bad, and he wants Brunson to be happy. And you can tell Jalen Brunson is like a pig in poop every time him and Hart are on the court together. So there is no way they are going to build around Brunson and disgruntle him by not bringing back Hart. And especially because the effectiveness has already happened. So it would have to seriously fizzle out and burn where Josh Hart becomes a complete flop for the rest of the season for us not to get him back next year.
I understand you and your brother are like campesinos from Puerto Rico and stuff like that, but I've never grew up watching pigs playing in doo-doo. Have you guys seen that before? Because I haven't. The fact that you brought that reference up just showed that you've seen it before. So how
actually, so here, I'll take this one, Phil. So we'll tell you a quick little story. Yes, we can sit here and say we have seen a pig in doo-doo because my mother literally has a pig in her backyard named Frodo. This thing is a monster pig. Yes, we thought it was going to be Thanksgiving dinner. My mom fell in love with it. The pig is now
Puerto
family.
Rican. you guys are really Puerto Rican. That's
my mom got to North Carolina and she said, "Wait a minute, I can have pigs in the backyard. Let's do it." It's crazy. It's weird. It's weird.
crazy.
Yo, I guarantee you. Shout out my man, Nice. I guarantee you, he has a cousin or two that probably has a couple of pigs in the backyard.
We are no longer interested in Kentucky style players and now move full throttle to the Villanova players. Cal, you next.
We'll talk about that.
The Kentucky and the Duke days are over. Villanova all day. Go ahead, Phil.
One thing about the pig and poop. My mom married a ultra white dude. So we were conflicted. Me and my brother were conflicted the first time we came home and there was a pig there because we initially thought, chicharrones, like fresh chicharrones. But no, because of the white guy that she married, that became family. So we thought it was food. He thought it was family. We lost, So one day we're still hoping to roast that little guy. But speaking of roasting, I'm going to roast the Brooklyn Nets for 1 second because even though they're a good team, you could tell based off that to Nice's comment, you could tell how bad Mikal Bridges wants to be a Knick. Mikal Bridges wants to be a Knick so bad. You could see when he would walk up to like Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson in that game. Every conversation was like this with the towel over his mouth. You knew that he was like, yo, we got to make this happen. We got to figure this out.
Did y'all see my video the other day? I slipped, yo. I was talking about playing at the party, yo. They got me. They roasted my ass on Twitter, yo. That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
He was like, guys, I need to be here. Make it happen. Guys,
facts.
I'm going to transition real quick. For everybody in the chat. So, we dropped a little spoiler last episode about a new show coming to the Brew Crew, to KOD Media. It's the Schmitty and Eddie show. And I felt like, you know what? Today's a good day to maybe drop a little bit more of that Eddie and Schmitty action. What do you guys think? We drop it on them?
Let's do it.
Let's drop it on them.
Let's toss it to the fellas. Check this out.
Man, thank you to the guys over at Knicks Morning Brew and KOD Media for making this possible. Shout out to you guys. As mentioned, man, we got a show coming, Smitty and Eddie show, covering all things NBA, man, with my guy here, Eddie, man. Eddie, what's up?
What's up, Smitty? I'm just ready to get this shit started. Are you?
Yeah, man, I'm down. Let's go. All right, guys, let's just jump straight into it, man. I'm feeling like we should maybe show these guys, ship them. Eddie, what are you thinking?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's ship them, Smitty. What do you say?
Yes, sir. Let's get into shipping, man. All right, guys. So in this segment, we are going to be talking about a team that right now we feel doesn't belong in the NBA, man. So that hence is the shipper. As you guys know, I'm from Australia. Eddie is on the other side of the globe, man. So he's going to be talking to me. He's going to send me a team. Maybe I'm going to return to sender. Or maybe I'm going to ship him a team that I don't feel is performing right now and it has been horrible. So, man, Eddie, I'm going to throw it right to you, man. Who have you got? Who are you trying to send me, man?
First team I'm sending you is the San Antonio Spurs, Smitty. This team is absolutely terrible. They lost 13 in a row. They are absolutely dreadful. All they are trying to do right now is literally tank for either Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson. This team traded everybody at the deadline. They're just geared up to lose. This team is absolutely awful. I literally think there's G League teams or college teams that could literally beat this team right now. That's how bad I think the Spurs are.
Hey, Eddie, man, I reckon you might be a little bit right there. I reckon there's teams in the NBL over here in Australia that could beat these guys at the minute with, some of the youth and a little bit of toughness that they're lacking. I will say, though, man, Keldon Johnson is a nice piece. I'm hoping they can get something going there for him soon because, Eddie, man, I don't want to see this guy wasted. He's a great talent. He was a late draft pick that has been better than his draft position. But tell me, Eddie, man, what do you think is the weakest link in this team, or weakest links per se? Give me a few of those maybe to sort of support why this team's so bad. Give the fans a little bit of insight.
Smitty, I think the whole team is the weakest link. All right, you're talking about a team that has 5 or 6 small forwards. Half of these guys, most people I've never even heard of. One of the weakest links I want to talk about is Malachi Branham. Okay, this guy is undersized. All right, he's a small forward. He's about 6'4". Okay, he's not the fastest guy in the world. He's extremely inefficient. He shoots 43% from the field. He can't shoot from the 3. I think he shoots like 30% from the 3. He can't defend. I'm just not a big fan of this guy. I think he's the weakest link right now. I know he had a good game last night, but to me, this guy I think he's one of the weakest links on the Spurs.
Yeah, right, man. Look, a rookie, man, it's tough, I know, but look, you bring up some great points there, man. I would also think, and I know people might want to jump on me for this one, me personally, Devin Vassell, just purely out of his lack of availability. I know he's struggling with injury right now. I wouldn't say he's the weakest link, but I think that's severely hurting them. But hey, man, that's another guy I don't want to see wasted because he's starting to really find his groove before he got injured. So Eddie, man, tell me, is that you're shipping him?
I'm shipping them, man. I am shipping them. This team literally wants to tank. All they care about is getting in the top 2 of the draft. But listen, there's odds against this, all right? They have a 27% chance of actually getting in that top 2, but the chances are more likely. The 60% chance is that they're not going to. The fact is they're going to drop. That's what the 62% chance says. They're going to pick from 3 to 6. So that's what they're doing. Smitty, I'm sending them over to Australia. Goodbye. I don't want to see the Spurs in the United States. I don't want anything to do with these guys, bro.
Hey, look, man, Eddie, I would return to sender, but in this case, I got someone to send to you. So I think I'm going to do that first because the Spurs, I can understand their situation a little more. My team, however, man, this is a team I'm shipping to you. I can't understand it. They looked really good. I got a little bit high on them. I actually sung their praises, man. And you know who I'm sending to you, Eddie, man? I'm sending you the Indiana Pacers. Look, I know you might be saying, "Hey, look, Smitty, you're a Knicks fan. That's a biased take. You guys are bred to dislike the Indiana Pacers ever since the Reggie Miller era." I know what it might seem, but hey, man, this team since 2023 ticked over has played 22 games. Do you know what their record is in that span, Eddie? They've been 5-17. That's 5 wins, 17 losses in 22 games to start 2023. Now, I know they missed Halliburton for an extended period there after he hurt himself against the Knicks. I understand that, and he's a core piece. Buddy Hield has been playing probably the best season of his career, though, especially percentages-wise. He's been hyper efficient, but they're on a 5-game losing streak right now. And look, man, it looks grim. It looks grim for all of the good that they looked at the start of the season. It looks grim, and I'm not too high on them, man. And I'm going to tell you, Eddie, man, you don't even need to ask this question. I'm going to tell you straight up, the weakest link. And tell me, if you agree or disagree with this. Just simply, I got Chris Duarte as their weakest link over there. Do you agree or do you disagree on that one, Eddie?
I'll agree on that. I mean, there's a lot of talent on the Pacers, so this guy's one of the least talented guys. So I actually agree with that.
Right, and now look, Chris Duarte, when he came to the league, was a little bit older. He played a few more years in college. He burst onto the scene from memory, if you guys remember, and he looked really good at first, but he was filling a need at that point. This was a different Pacers team when he joined them. He obviously has struggled with injury, but man, his size and his spot, especially after getting the talent that is Benedict Mathurin in the most recent draft, and trading for guys like Aaron Nesmith and also drafting Nembhard. Look, man, I think he's become obsolete and he's the weakest link. He's shooting this year just a miserable 35% from the floor and 28% from 3-point. He's getting about 19 minutes per game, and he's played 35 games so far. So look, man, it's
what happened to these guys? What happened to the Pacers?
I don't know, man. I think Duarte was a beneficiary of the situation he came into. And I think they've just really fallen off, man. I think Tyrese Halliburton is a bigger piece, and I think it might be time to consider moving Aaron Nesmith to the bench and bringing on Benedict Mathurin, man, because Benedict Mathurin has been holding up their bench. Now, I know Rick Carlisle's theory on that was that, you know, he was ultimately like getting a rookie and being able to just inject him as a six man for his first year, and he'd get some really good reps in that way. But no, man, this kid deserves to start. I'd be moving either Aaron Nesmith or Nemhard to the bench and going for the longer and the more talented absolute scoring machine that is Benedict Mathurin, man. This guy's a dog. He wants to be out there. He said some things about LeBron when he came into the league that ruffled a few feathers. So, man, I am sending these guys to you in Florida. They can move there. They can become a new Floridian franchise. But I'm shipping them, man. Or I'm shipping them offshore, out of the US, out of the NBA, wherever, man. But they're coming to you. They're coming to you, man.
Well, Smitty, listen, I'll take the Pacers. Listen, I think they have some talent on the team. You know, I really do. I think obviously they've had a dreadful stretch, like you mentioned before. But, you know, I believe in Halliburton. I think Miles Turner's great. And like you just mentioned, what else can you say about Benedict Mathurin? This guy, you know, he's got an it factor. He's obviously can score. You know, the coach likes him. I think he's got a bright future. You know, I really do. So I'm going to accept the Indiana Pacers right now. But the one thing I wanted to tell you was, with the Spurs, I don't want to just ship them to you. I want you to take their passports, and I don't want them coming back. I want them deported. Goodbye. You're taking the Spurs. No good. I don't ever want to see these guys again, bro.
Oh, you was caught dancing. I was caught dancing also.
Bro, I feel like if I was like an 80s pop locker, I would just like cruise through the city, just like, like, yeah, I would kill it if I was.
No, but shout out to our guys Eddie, and shout out to our guy Smitty joining the Brew crew, coming over here to KOD Media, the Morning Brew Sports. I cannot wait for that show. It's going to be, you could tell with Smitty and with Eddie. It's going to be a bag of energy. So make sure you guys tune in every week so you can catch the Eddie and Smitty show. Let me just do a roll call real quick before we continue. Is that cool, Phil? You got one thing you want to add on before I do the roll call? All right, cool.
Yeah. Just real quick.
Go ahead, bro.
Go for it, and then I'll give my take. You go.
Bingo, bango. My man Quiet Money's in the building. QM, what it do, my guy? Salute. My man Angel Barrios is in the building. Angel, how you doing? G Money is in the building. Our guy Gideon. G Money, hope all is well. Hope the family's doing well, my guy. And of course, our guy 19 comment was like, fire. Can't wait for that Bill Burr show. 100%. I can't wait for that Bill Burr show either. It's going to be awesome. And if you guys can, I'm putting the link in the chat right now. If you could follow the new channel, the Morning Brew Sports, because the Morning Brew, the Knicks Morning Brew, and the Yankee Morning Brew will be moving channels. We'll be moving from KOD Media to the Morning Brew Sports, where we'll have our other shows. That's where you see the Yankees Morning Brew, the Knicks Morning Brew, Eddie and Smitty, and every other spinoff show that we come up with. But yeah. Quiet Money, what it do, player? But yeah, go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, bro. So you know the whole Smitty and Eddie thing, man, has me wicked excited. So I've been a Knicks fan my whole life, but I'm also an old man. I may not look it, but I'm an old man. Okay, so Twitter is not something I ever wanted. And in my industry, as a photographer and videographer, that is the one social media that I was able to live without. I had to have Instagram. I had to have Facebook. Back in the day when I did music, I had to have MySpace. Now I have to have TikTok. So Twitter, I was like, yo, I don't need Twitter. This is amazing. I can stay off social media. Then I started doing Knicks Morning Brew. And y'all were like, bro, you got to get back on Twitter. And I was like, no. So I got back on Twitter, and some of the first people that just like showed love immediately were Schmitty, Eddie, and Smooth, who's in the chat, Smooth and Cassius. And so with the Eddie and Smitty show, you know, I'm excited because it's being able to partner with people that, you know, have showed love since day one, that have been there since day one, and just their takes are just dope. You know, Eddie's got such crazy personality. I absolutely love it. And Schmitty is just so committed and like knowledgeable. The fact that homeboy, like, to be on our show, stayed up, you know, when most people are like passed out sleeping, you know, Schmitty's here from Australia tuning in, you know, so we're thankful to be able to use our platform to partner with people that we believe in, and kind of just continue to grow and put out excellent content. So thank you guys for supporting them. Subscribe to the channel. They're going to do their first few episodes when it fully launches on KOD Media. And then after like the third episode, it'll constantly be on our channel. And so,
Oh, what's up?
Real quick,
you look like an
real quick.
excited kid the day before Christmas. What happened? What
Real
you
quick,
do?
shout out. I see everybody in the chat. Shout out. Smooth Cash. I see y'all out there. Nice to everybody. But update. The Schmitty and Eddie show will premiere on the 27th, that Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern. So it will be live the 27th on KOD Media and Knicks Morning Brew, the Morning Brew Sports Show. That's when it'll be. Mondays. Schmitty, Eddie, I just want to stop by real quick and say you guys killed it. I'm looking forward to the show. I can't wait for the Bill Burr experience. It's going to be dope. Guys, enjoy the rest of the show. I got things to do, but I'm going to leave you with a topic. You ready? You ready?
Wow.
Okay, well, thank you for dropping a bomb like that, Jigga, of course. But Knicks Josh Hart reminding Tom Thibodeau of All-Star Jimmy Butler. Like we was talking backstage, Phil, I'm going to leave it to you because you had a great line. Go ahead. I don't want to steal it from you. Go ahead, bro.
So as great of a comparison as that is, with the fact that it's coming out of Thibodeau's mouth, who traded Jimmy Butler, like, what does that mean for Josh Hart? Does that mean he's going to show a bunch of promise and then get shipped because Tom Thibodeau does not know how to like really use and like hold on to things that are worth holding on to? He traded Levine. He traded Wiggins. He traded Butler. Like, so this guy, when he makes a comment like that, doesn't make me ecstatic. It makes me a little bit worried. It's still fire Tibbs till the day I die. You know, what he reminds me of is kind of like Thanos trying to collect all the gems, but instead of actually doing anything with it, he then just like lets that like, oh, you want the red? Like he spent all that time, you know. He's like, oh, you want the red gem?
He uses them as table weights. He
Yeah,
instead of
exactly.
actually uses them, he uses them as table weights. But yeah, bro,
Yep.
I'm 100% on board with you. It's a great comparison. It's a great quote and stuff like that. Two different type of players. Jimmy Butler is a dog on his own, just like Josh Hart is a dog on their own. You could tell that those are two guys when it comes to Josh Hart and Jimmy Butler. They had to fight for everything that they have when it comes to their NBA career, right? Josh Hart with the Lakers, he had to fight for minutes. Jimmy Butler with the Bulls, he had to fight for minutes. And now you can see when you have to fight for minutes at an early age, you're rewarded with it, right? Hopefully our next guy that we're going to have this conversation about, hopefully he catches that because he hasn't. I got RJ Barrett, bro. Now before we criticize RJ Barrett as badly as I want to criticize him, let's have this conversation before we do that. So when it comes to RJ Barrett and when it comes to Ben Simmons from the Brooklyn Nets, who do you think has a brighter future in the NBA? Ben Simmons or RJ Barrett? And I was saving this conversation. I was very hesitant to. I wanted to put this out there on Twitter and Instagram, but I was saving it with you, Phil. Who do you think will have a better career, a longer career, Ben Simmons or RJ Barrett?
Ben Simmons?
Go ahead, bro.
Oh, RJ Barrett. Like here's the thing: is it's more than basketball with Ben Simmons. You know, like it's more than basketball, and it shows. You know, like. And it breaks my heart because personally, like, I think that there's like deeper things that have to be figured out that's going on with Ben Simmons. So it's easy for us to just like critique from a couch, you know, but I try not to critique when I don't think it's just like basketball that's affecting what's going on. With RJ Barrett, like it's just way too much of an up and down roller coaster that I know that like the things that I see in him have to do with his athleticism, have to do with the fact that he looks out of shape, has to do with the fact that he has been quoted that he was not in the gym this summer. You know, those are things that make me go, this is basketball related. Ben Simmons, I don't necessarily think is basketball related. So that's unfortunate and heartbreaking. But I also think that because there's no actual solution in like the here and now, to be able to fix that, I think it's going to cause issues for his career. RJ Barrett, it's one of those, you either want it or you don't. Show me that you want it kind of things. So he can switch that on if he gets the right person to like call him out and call him to more.
Yeah. And a few people are already coming at me in the chat for bringing it up. I apologize, but my man Chris Joseph said, "Come on, Heck, don't disrespect RJ like that." Ha ha ha. Nice says RJ is another Ben Simmons. JJ, at least Simmons plays defense. TC Stills, Ben Simmons is a boom. RJ has a future. Oh, Jay Boogie's in the chat. He said, "What, I got a new link?" Yes, sir. Jay Boogie, you can follow the new channel, The Morning Brew Sports. Make sure you it's right here in the chat. I'll put it in the chat again if you need it. But The Morning Brew Sports. Hold on, got a few. 19 comments said Tibbs copped fake gems from the city side street vendors while grabbing a slice of pizza. But no, I was saving that question because it was a lot going on, right? Ben Simmons, he only played 12 minutes, right? He only played 12 minutes. I think he had 1 or 2 points, if that. But RJ Barrett, for the first 14 minutes of the last game he played, for the first 14 minutes, he went statless, bro. He didn't have a single stat, not 1 point, not 1 rebound, not 1 assist. He had some turnovers, though. Those are the only stats he had. But for the first 14 minutes, he went statless. And that's not how you live up to being a 3rd overall pick. That's not how you live up to getting the bag that you just got this offseason. RJ, like, you have to step it up. And I saw sometimes when RJ, he goes away from his mid-range game. That's the thing what RJ does. He tries to focus on the 3-point shot, or he tries to focus on driving in the lane. RJ, just take a step back, right? And work on your mid-range shot, right? If your defender, if he's expecting you to drive, you're not going to be able to beat him, right? But if he's giving you that opportunity to pull up for a mid-range shot, look what DeMar DeRozan has done in his career. He's built an entire career off of killing it from the mid-range. RJ, you're not a 3-point shooter. Your defender is not going to give you space knowing that you're going to drive the ball. You got to get them off their toes. So if they have to respect you when it comes to that mid-range game, have them respect you. Have them have that little hesitation that allows you to drive past them and get to the rim. Because what you're doing right now is you're getting your shot blocked at least once or twice a game. And it's becoming embarrassing. There's no way that I could wake up 3 days out the week every morning and defend you. I can't. And there should be no Knicks fan that's defending the play that RJ Barrett has been playing, especially of most recently. I get it. He's averaging 20 points per game. That's a career high. I get that. That's awesome. But he's also averaging a career high when it comes to turnovers. He's averaging a career low when it comes to 3-point percentage and field goal. Right? You brought up your free throw percentage last year. You have a lower free throw percentage this year than you had last year. RJ Barrett, if you can hear me, step it up, bro. Just get into the gym and work on your game and just know where you can operate. The mid-range game is where you should live, not the 3-point line. Go ahead, Go ahead, Phil. Yeah. I was about to call you. I was about to say, go ahead, Josh Hart's #1 fan.
Like there's a ton, that we could talk about. We could talk about, his defense is horrible. Like mentally isn't there. Like RJ's been missing, easy shots. RJ gives me similar vibes to Michael Beasley. Like, so here's the thing. There's one quote that I love by Van Gogh, and he talks about, maybe it wasn't. I don't remember who said this quote, but it was great. But it talks about like how fear is more crippling than the actual like consequences. And I feel like RJ Barrett has been living in like this crippling fear of what people think of him, what, certain things mean for his career, what certain signings mean for him as a Knick. And he's letting all of these fears come out on the court every single night. Mm-hmm. And what he's doing is causing the situation to be worse than the actual reality. Like the reality would be, you see that they gave you the bag. Like, yes, you were in trade talks. We understand that can be frustrating, but this is also a business. Like, get back into it and get back to what you have to do. But he's allowing all this stuff to come out every single day, affect his game, which is actually making his fears become a reality. of like what's going to happen to him. Like if people continue to rise up around him and he continues to fall, then there's going to be no choice but to have to figure out something else for him. And so it just shows he comes out there and he's a shell of himself on some nights. And there's nights where he comes back and does a great job in the second half after playing poorly. But is that enough? Like, is someone really looking for a player that is going to be 50% reliable, in a game? What if that 50% is in the second half of the game in the playoffs when we need someone reliable? Like when we're going up against a team for 7 games and we need 100% 4 quarters of basketball, and he gave 100 the first half and 50 the second. That's just not going to be enough to kind of build around. And so I think he's seeing himself go from, what he thought was going to be a 1 or 2 option to now a 3rd option to now possibly a 4th and 5th option on the team. And it's starting to like really, really get to his head, and he's falling apart before our eyes. And it's unfortunate.
I'm gonna shout out my man Quiet Money real fast, because a couple of seasons ago, I would say a year or 2 ago, Quiet Money, he went on, I think it was Man Uncle Ron show, and there was a clip going around of Quiet Money saying that RJ Barrett needs to go to the G League. And I remember a lot of people were trying to make fun of the take that Quiet Money had. Looking at it now, Quiet Money wasn't off. So I'm gonna need everybody from a couple of years ago. QM, Quiet Money. I know you know what I'm talking about, right? When people were circulating that video about you saying that RJ should go to the G League. I need everybody who came for Quiet Money 2 years ago. Where you at right now? Because it's just crickets, right? When it comes to RJ Barrett, a big thing about RJ Barrett, you brought up names like Jimmy Butler, right? You brought up names like Josh Hart, right? We can even throw John Starks into that category. The difference between RJ Barrett and those 3 players that I named, those 3 players had to fight for their NBA career. RJ Barrett, every stop he's been at, he's been the guy. He's never had to fight for his minutes. He's never had to fight through losing time, not being the number 1 or the number 2 option. He's never had to deal with that before in his entirety of being a professional athlete. Going back to the days with Team Canada, he was never the second guy. He was always the number 1 guy. Going to Duke, even though Zion was Zion, he still led that team when it comes to point per games and his division, right? So RJ Barrett and his entire professional career, even going back to the days when he was a child coming up with AAU, he's never had to face admiration before. This is the first time in his career that has happened. And the response for it so far doesn't look good. It doesn't look like he's handling the pressure. Like you said, pressure breaks pipes, but at the same time, pressure makes diamonds. So we're not sure what's going to happen with RJ right now. At this moment, it looks like RJ Barrett, he's going to turn into a broken pipe instead of looking like a diamond. He needs to get back in the gym after every game and work on his shot. That's the one thing he needs to do. And he needs to recognize, RJ Barrett, you aren't a natural 3-point shooter, right? There's some guys that are born that are just natural shooters, right? Even hockey players, there's some guys that are born that are just natural hockey swings, right? I mean, natural golf swings, natural hockey swings, baseball, however you want to put it. That's not RJ Barrett. The good thing about RJ Barrett is RJ Barrett, when it comes to his mindset, he has a mindset that you want when it comes to on a winning team. But the work ethic, I'm not sure is there, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, so a few things. I do think that
Yo, Jay Boogie's a clown. I just saw that. He said, I blame all of y'all living in New York. Somebody could go scoop up RJ and take him to the club, let him get his swag on. Listen, Jay Boogie, I've been trying to get RJ to come to Washington Heights and hang out with me in Dykeman, but he refuses to answer my DMs. Go ahead, Phil. I'm sorry.
So the thing is twofold. I do believe that there is some like only child mentality, when it comes to RJ up until this point, where he was very privileged and, like things were kind of gifted to him and catered to him. But I also feel like when you meet a only child that continues to be fed with a silver spoon, like you can see that kind of child, Yeah, exactly. Like, but you could see parents, single children that, had good leadership and good direction, and they don't walk around with that like priority type mindset. Like, I remember when I was watching an interview with Shaquille O'Neal and I loved it. He was talking about like his kids, and they were like, "Oh, we're rich though." And he's like, "No, we're not. I'm rich. You're not rich. I played ball. I worked hard. I did this. I did that. I earned it. I'm rich. What are you doing? Like, until you earn it, you're not rich." And that's leadership. And I don't remember what team it was, but there was a video that someone posted, and I wish I remembered, recently on Twitter, where the player got smoked, by his defender. Like, let him go to the left side, I believe. Didn't block him off. They called a timeout. The coach got on the court with him, showed him exactly where his hand should be to be able to get him to like actually be able to draw that charge. And then the clip went viral because the very next play, the team tried to do that again, and he drew the charge because he did exactly what his coach came out to the court to show him to do. And that's leadership. And I don't think RJ Barrett has that kind of leadership when it comes to our team at all. Like, I feel like Tibbs is going to be the guy that is going to curse you out. He's going to yell at you. He's going to tell you how poor of a player you performed as, but I don't think he's going to do anything to direct you. And it's also misusing him, because if you look, we are using him as like this 3-point sharpshooter and like whatnot. But if you look at Coach K, who got the most out of him, Coach K even said he's a basketball player. He's not a shooter. He's a scorer, a basketball player who's supposed to make plays. He's a winner. That is not what we're using RJ as whatsoever. Like, we are trying to make him a shooter as opposed to a scorer. And that's a huge difference in this NBA. Some people are both, like Steph Curry. Some people are not. And RJ Barrett is not. So I think it's also poor leadership on top of lack of good work ethic, but we also don't have anyone calling out his work ethic except for us as fans.
Yeah. Like, and shout out my man Quiet Money. He said, Hector, I appreciate you remembering my takes, bro. Listen, when it comes to this ADHD, I remember a lot of things, not school related, but when it comes to entertainment and the Knicks, I remember a lot of things. But it just seems different because I know in the chat earlier was talking about no more Kentucky days, no more Duke days. We just going after the Villanova boys, right? But when you look at all three college programs, right? Duke is known for getting the quote unquote the stars, the next stars, right? That are going to come into the NBA, right? Kentucky is the second landing spot for those stars, right? That don't get to Duke, but they could get to Kentucky and still make it. Those are the two top programs. Villanova is a program that it creates grinders, right? NBA players that they have to grind for their minutes and they have to work for their minutes on the court and in practice, right? And it shows. Look at the guys that are from Villanova that are in the NBA right now. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges. Ain't nobody going to say that Brunson or Josh Hart or Mikal Bridges, nobody's going to say, you don't have the right mind to say that no, all three of those players, not one of them play hard, because all three of them, they play hard. You're not going to say that from about a Villanova player. You may say that about a Kentucky player, and you may say that about a Duke player, Cam Reddish. But when it comes to Villanova, it starts at the coaching. Jay Wright was a phenomenal coach. Now they have a new coach that's in charge of the program. But Jay Wright, he put that into these kids at a young age. You're going to have to drive, and you have to work for everything that you have. And it shows. So hopefully this front office, this offseason, is going to be a crucial offseason for us, right? We're going to have to make that decision on, do we keep RJ or do we put him in a trade, right? Evan Fournier's contract, like I said, it's going to look very valuable being that it's an expiring deal, right? So there's going to be some moves that, hell, if Quentin Grimes doesn't step it up, Quentin Grimes could be on a trading block as well. If Quentin Grimes doesn't step his game up, he may be on a trading block as well. Go ahead, bro.
This is the unfortunate thing. And I think this is where fans get divided and get frustrated, because I'm looking at this quote by Delano right here, okay? RJ Barrett needs to expand his game. Same thing with Obi and with Quentin. Same thing with Jericho Sims. So what is Tom Thibodeau doing to put these individuals in positions to succeed? That's the big thing. This goes directly with your point about Villanova. Like, you look at the players that are succeeding with us, none of them were developed by us. Like, we got Jalen Brunson after he was already playing good basketball at Dallas. Like, he already got developed, already got that NBA work ethic, came over, is playing great ball. Julius Randle played with the Lakers, and then he played with New Orleans where he was playing well. Then he came over to us and was effective. You look at Josh Hart. Josh Hart played elsewhere, came over. Now he's doing well. The players that all of us are like, we want to see something, are players that we drafted. RJ, Grimes, Toppin, Sims. Who are the players that are like struggling on our team? The ones we drafted. Who are the ones that are successful on our team? The ones that we got elsewhere after they were already developed. That is our leadership. There is not one player except for Quickly, and Quickly did it on his own. But you look at every single player we have drafted, no one has thrived for a full, like, long period of time under the, like, leadership and growth of Tom Thibodeau. No one. Everyone that has done exceptionally well with us has been brought over. So I don't blame all of our guys. Like, there's certain things like the work ethic, but Grimes has the work ethic. He's just not succeeding in certain, areas that he needs to be poured into. Like, same thing with Sims. Same thing with, like, Quickly when he was having his downsides. But I think it has to do with lack of leadership and lack of actual coaching, because I think elsewhere those players would thrive. Straight up. Like,
yeah. When you bring up, and I'm sorry, did you have anything else you want to say, Phil? I keep on about to say, Josh, you got anything you want to add on, Josh Hart, number one fan? Because I'm looking at your name on the screen, and I keep on. But no, when you bring up a valid point, right? But we are in the part of the season right now, February 15th, right? We're literally a half game behind the Miami Heat and a game behind the Brooklyn Nets when it comes to ranking in our conference. But we are at a point in the season when we don't have time to give RJ, Obi, and I wouldn't even say Jericho Sims, but we don't have enough games left in the season to risk games and to lose games just so RJ can get his touch back. Right, we're at a point in the season where we don't have enough games left in the season to risk losing 5 games just so we can have Obi Toppin get his groove. We don't have the luxury right now, right? We don't have the luxury to have Obi and RJ finally get their groove back. We don't have that right now. Where we are at in the season, we are trying to make the playoffs from the 5th and the 6th seed, right? Play-in tournament, throw that to the side. We're not going for the play-in tournament, right? Josh Hart's edition, I'm sipping the Kool-Aid, right? I'm sipping all the Kool-Aid. Give me all the Kool-Aid. I may sip it all right now. What I'm saying is we don't have a luxury left in the season to allow RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin to try to figure out their game while at the same time being on the fence if we could lose those games. I'd rather win those games than lose those games, Phil, if that makes sense to you. I'm not sure if I'm getting my words out properly, how I'm trying to explain it. But I don't want to sacrifice 5 games down the stretch when we have 23 to 24 games left to go in the season. I don't want to sacrifice 5 to 10 games possibly turning into losses because we're trying to get RJ and Obi Toppin back on track. Right now, they are what they are, right? They are what they are. What they have to do is go out there and make the most out of their minutes. What I want to see from Obi Toppin, as much as I would love for Obi Toppin to catch on fire and just knock down 3-pointers and to just get alley-oops and dunking on everyone, go in the open court, take that ball from baseline to baseline and slam it. I would love that. But I will also love to see Obi Toppin boxing some people out for some rebounds. I would love to see Obi Toppin getting some work in on the low post, doing the extra things that need you to do. We joked about and we made fun of Isaiah Hartenstein falling on the floor every other 5 seconds. I would love to see Obi Toppin fall on the floor trying to get a rebound from somebody, right? What I would love to see from RJ Barrett, I would love for you to knock down those open 3-point shots that you have. I would love for you to operate as a slicer that you are when it comes to driving to the lane, but I will also love you to be the defender that we need you to be. I need you to stop going under those picks, and I need you to fight through those picks and defend your man instead of leaving him open from a wide open 3-point shot. I would rather that than sacrificing 5 to 10 games so those two players can get back on track, if you understand what I'm saying, Phil. I love you, bro, by the way.
Yeah, I agree but disagree. Like, yes, there's certain things that we need to see, such as the effort, regardless of whether it's a up game or down game. But if we're saying we don't have the time for these players to do that, then what are we doing? Like, we can't say that we want to have teams that compete with guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks, and then say that guys like RJ and Toppin and Grimes, we don't have the time for them to like figure themselves out. Because if that was the case, Giannis wouldn't be Giannis. Like, Giannis didn't start having great numbers till his 5th season. Like, he didn't start developing into a player worth really watching until his 5th season. In his 4th season, he was averaging pretty much similar numbers to RJ. And Obi's not even close to like the amount of time that they've had to develop. So like when I look at friggin' Giannis's like third year, I think he was like getting like 35 minutes a game and only averaging 16 points. Like, if the Bucks would have said the same thing, like, oh, we don't have time for these guys to figure it out, then Giannis wouldn't be Giannis. And so I think that we're caught up in this whole crazy, like, are we developing and allowing our team to develop, or are we thinking that we are championship contending team now? Because if we're not championship contending team right now, which I don't think we are, then this is the time for these guys to develop. This is the time to kind of get these guys to where they need to be so that in 1 or 2 years, if we're actually trying to compete for a championship, those guys can show what they really are capable of or not capable of. But I think especially for guys like Obi and Grimes and even RJ, like we're drawing that line in the sand way too early, because the actual stars that we call stars now did not develop into those stars till about 5th season into their career. So I can't look at Giannis's 16 points and go, man, if only our guys played 36 minutes and could average 16 points, we'd know we'd have a star.
That was his 3rd season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
For Giannis.
Like,
okay. No, because his 4th season, he was averaging 22, 23 points per game with 10
exactly.
rebounds.
So 22 points per game. I think RJ's at like 20. Obi Toppin's getting like 10, 11 minutes compared to 36 minutes that Giannis was getting in his 3rd year. So like we can't microwave these guys, especially 10, 11 minutes. Like, you're still getting 10 points. Like, if you add up the time played to
the only pushback that I have for that, and it's a little pushback. It's like a little bumper card, boom, a little bump real quick, rear end. The only pushback that I have is that every season when it came to Giannis, he did his part when it came to his body. When it came to his work, like him working in the gym, that was his part to do, right? It's a 50-50 thing. Your team has to put you in a position to succeed. I agree 100%. But at the same time, you have to do everything on your end to be in the best shape that you can. And Giannis did. Our 2 players, they haven't. RJ Barrett hasn't done the best thing that he can this season when it comes to keeping his body in shape. Obi Toppin, he still has the same frame he had when he was drafted, right? That's the only pushback I have. And Giannis he's a transcending talent. I get that. You could point the little things when it came to Giannis' game. He couldn't shoot it open shot. I get that. That was Gian. But the thing about Giannis is he's an athletic freak. You cannot teach that athletic freak that Giannis is. You can't teach that. You have to be born with that. And both RJ Barrett and Obi Toppin, they aren't born with that athletic gift that Giannis has. Giannis' athletic gift can make up for the fact that he's not a great ball handler. It can make up for the fact that he's not a great shooter, right? But when it comes to RJ and Obi, It's just the little things that I want to see. I want to see them getting more minutes and being more active in the offense. But at the same time, I need you to do the little things that Giannis was doing in order for his organization to trust him. When it came to the defense, when it came to getting your rebound, when it came to block shots, that's what I want to see. And with the head coach that we have right now and Tom Thibodeau, that's all he wants to see. If you're playing defense, he's going to put you out there. We love Deuce McBride. He played phenomenal defense. Now that Josh Hart is here, ain't no more Deuce McBride, right? So we need Obi Toppin and RJ Barrett. If you can't score, at least do the little thing when it comes to going over the screen to defend your man. If you're struggling offensively, cool. Do the little things on the defensive side that still adds to the box score and still are game difference makers. I love you, Phil.
So I'll agree with the RJ. Like he straight up said, that he didn't play ball in the offseason. Like that's pure laziness. That's pure not taking care of yourself. You can tell that he hit up way too many New York fast food joints all throughout the summer. Like you can see that.
He's playing Fortnite with Kevin Knox, bro. What are you talking about?
I'm not going to agree with that on Toppin because Toppin, in my opinion, does have that natural athleticism. That's what he was known for all through college. That's what he was known for in our first season. And body build wise, it's very similar to what Giannis was in his first few seasons. I think if Obi Toppin can get in the gym and put on some muscle and actually utilize that muscle, which a lot of people can't. A lot of people will put on muscle and it won't be healthy muscle and they can't actually still play ball because they're like, sometimes you see that with Big Money Mitch, Big Money Mitch pulled up a lot of muscle, but can't carry it around a lot, But so I'll agree with the RJ. I think that it's still yet to be seen with Obi. But from everything that I've ever heard from coaching staff and newspapers is that his work ethic is great. So I want to actually hear that his work ethic isn't because it would be out there if his work ethic was poor, But if they talk about the guy's work ethic and yet you still don't see the minutes, you still don't see the development, that's my problem. Like, I understand that if someone's not putting in the work, you sit them, you don't give them the minutes. But if you brag about their work ethic and the fact that they play hard in practice, the fact that they give their all, and then you still don't develop, that's my issue. So Obi Toppin is not giving me a reason to doubt that he could be something if actually given that time and continues to put in that work.
If I could correct, I'm gonna just rewind real quick. The work ethic and everything that was targeted towards RJ Barrett, right? When it comes to Obi, what I mean with Obi Toppin is that Obi Toppin as a power forward is 6'9" in the NBA. That's what I meant about not being gifted athletically like Giannis Antetokounmpo is. As a 6'9" guy, Obi Toppin is super athletic. I'm the last person to judge anybody about athleticism, right? The only thing athletic about me is my thumbs when I'm playing the Game Boy and playing Pokemon. That's the only thing that's athletic about me. I'm the last person to talk about anyone being athletic. But what I meant was it's not having the height, not having the gifts from the physical aspect. That's what I meant about Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin, if this was the NBA back in the 2000s, he'll be able to kill because that was more of a throw it down to the big man, let them operate. If you were a power forward that could shoot the 3-point shot, automatically you was an all-star because not that many power forwards back in the early 2000s was shooting a 3-point shot. That's what I meant. I should have corrected my words. I apologize, Phil, with that.
No, you're good. And here's the thing is I honestly do agree that for his position, he's, Giannis is a freak. Let's be real. Giannis is a freak. But I honestly think this is where development comes in because if Obi Toppin could get better legs under him, which I've seen players do, I think he should be moved to the small forward position because at his build, at his athleticism, that would fit his strong suits a little bit better. That's me personally. Like I've seen in the past, people move from that position to the small forward position and thrive. So I would like to see, and that's the thing is I've seen coaches through the years where it's like this person was brought on solely to help this person do this. Like, Okay, that's incredible that a coaching staff would say, hey, we recruited you 8th in the draft because we want to build around you, and this is where you're weak, so we're actually going to pay someone to come in and work on that with you. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's try everything before we say something doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. My man Trippy, shout out my man Trippy, said Obi has to be way more aggressive. He's a yes sir kind of guy that acts like he's not from New York and from Boston. Listen, I agree. The way Obi Toppin be playing like he from Yonkers or from White Plains, New York. I'm gonna need you to play like you from Red Hook, Brooklyn, Obi Toppin going forward. But Phil, let's just throw it around a little bit while we still have some time. But like I said earlier, I'm sipping the Kool-Aid. Hold on one second. Give me a second. I'm sipping all the Kool-Aid when it comes to the New York Knicks. Just like my man Nice said in the chat down there below. Listen, the New York Knicks, we are going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm saying that right now, February 15th, 12:16 p.m. I am sipping all the Kool-Aids. Make sure you take a Snapchat. Make sure you get a screen recording of this because I'm going all in. The New York Knicks and Josh mother effing Hart are making it to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? Throw the Brew crew down in the chat. Throw your beers in the chat for the Brew crew. Hit the like for your boys. Facts.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready.
Where do you think we end in the season? Where do you think we end of the season, bro?
I don't know if I'm ready to go all that far. But I will say that I think we definitely get past the first round. It kind of depends who we play. Like we got to stay in the rankings to be able to play against like the Cavs or the Sixers or something like that. I do not think that if we go up against the Bucks in the first round, we're getting out of the first round. Like I don't. If we're playing anybody but the Bucks, I think we go into the second round of the playoffs. And that would make me happy. I want to see that, with this Josh Hart acquisition, that it gets us further than we've been before. I want to see that it gets us to that next spot. So I want to see us get to the second round and compete in the second round. I don't want us to get smoked in the second round. I want to show that like we're still competitors at that level. But I do think that if we do draw the Bucks, it's an early exit for us. So we got to make sure not to be at that bottom position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my man Ray Dixon says, Yonkers is kind of real, Hector. That's why, Ray, I switched it right afterwards and said White Plains, New York, right? Because I do realize that Jadakiss and them boys, the D-Block is from Yonkers. So I do apologize for all the Yonkers natives that are in the chat. I was not coming for you. I meant to say White Plains in upstate New York. Everything that's past Yonkers is considered upstate New York in my eyes. But Phil, bro, I'm just super excited for the rest of the season. This is the last game we have before the All-Star break. After today, the All-Star break happened. We will be back with the coverage for the All-Star game Friday. We may have a guest, not sure yet. We'll put it out on Twitter and social media. Make sure you guys follow us on all of our social media platforms as well. And if you guys can, follow the new channel, The Morning Brew Sports. Subscribe to the channel, The Morning Brew Sports. I know I may have gotten a little bit ahead of myself with the whole Eastern Conference. But I'm still going with that, Phil. I'm still going with that, bro, because if you look at it, hold on, wait. Let me just pull up the schedule right now. Not the schedule. Let me pull up the conference right now as we still here. The standings when it comes to the Eastern Conference, Boston, Milwaukee. Those are the only two teams that I'm scared about. Philadelphia, in a 7-game series, we could probably push them to 7 games. Philly would probably win it 50-50. But Cleveland, you scared of Cleveland, bro?
Nah. Like, I think there was a lot of hype, a lot of buzz.
You scared of Miami?
Nah, bro. No, not at all.
You scared of Brooklyn?
No.
And the 7 game, and those are the 3 teams that's ahead of us. So if the Knicks are able to get into that top 6, it will be Boston, Milwaukee, 76ers, Cleveland, Miami, and the Knicks, right? Boston and Milwaukee, those are the only 2 teams that I would say, well, I can say Boston, because if you look at it, over the past 3 seasons, Milwaukee has been a team that we've been able to handle. time and time again, Giannis Antetokounmpo has been one of those top teams that we have been able to handle over the past 3 years since Tom Thibodeau has taken over this team, right?
Yeah.
So the only team that I'm really, really scared of that I say we have no shot against in the 7-game series is Boston. That's the only team that I can say in the 7-game series we have no shot against. But Milwaukee, we could push them to game 7. Philadelphia, we could push them to game 7 and upset them. But I'm not scared of Cleveland, and I'm not scared of Miami, bro. And if we choke in the playoffs, I know everyone's gonna replay the clip that I just said, but I'm ready for it, and I would accept it when it comes. But right now, I ain't scared, bro.
Yeah. And here's the thing about tonight. We go up against the Hawks. First, we got to win the Hawks.
Who?
We play the Hawks tonight. The Trae Young and the Clowns.
You talking about the Trae Young that looks like a lollipop that fell on the floor at a movie theater? That's who you talking about? Go ahead.
Yeah, that guy. So we go up against them. I want to beat them for 2 reasons. Obviously, because we want to beat them, and we love beating Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, because his arrogance is just gross. But second, whoever loses tonight in the the Miami and Brooklyn game, that's in our favor because both of them are ahead of us. So whoever loses gets us closer to another spot. Personally, if the Heat lose, then we go up into the 6th spot if we win tonight. If Brooklyn loses, then we're a few games, closer to even their spot.
No, I think no. If Brooklyn loses and we win, we are tied with them. For the 6th spot, yeah. Because I'm looking at the standings right now, we're a game behind Brooklyn. We're a half game behind Miami, right? So if Brooklyn loses tonight and we win, that's a whole game.
Hold up. No. It says, I'm looking at the stat. It says Brooklyn is 7.5 games behind and we're 9.5 games behind. So we're 2 games behind Brooklyn.
Okay. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. Half game. Yeah. You're right. I read that wrong. I was looking at Miami. My fault.
No problem. So yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Either way, one of them taking an L helps us tonight. So Dill Pickle.
Yo, I can't stand SK. He's a Trae Young. He look like Dill Pickle from Rugrats. Oh man. Yo, we gotta end the show on that because that's hilarious. I can't follow with that. But Phil, bro, like always, it's an awesome time doing the show with you. I mean, your bro, my bro, Jiggaman Porto jumping in as well. Of course, the chat. Phil, let's do the roll call. Go ahead, Phil. Start with the roll call, baby. Who you calling out?
Yeah, so Delano Steele, always showing love. JJ, appreciate you, brother. Nice, as always. Love your insight. 19 Con Man, always showing support. We love you, bro. Trippy and the VSN network, that's family right there. Chris Joseph, same thing. I know we had Schmoove was in the chat earlier. Family J Boogie, Smoking Nick, like always, there to drop his love for Randall and also knowledge everywhere else. Quiet Money, genius, love it. I saw Jacob Petruzzi in here earlier. Our boy Eric Wallace. TC Steele, Jonathan, as always, Ray Dixon from the VSN network. So, it was just good people in here today. So we thank you guys. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the new channel and continue to watch what's coming. Shout out to Simity and Eddie. Congratulations to them on their new show. It is going to be fire. And that's all I got. You take us out, Hector.
Listen, man, I couldn't say it better than you can right now, but shout out to Eddie and Smitty, our guys in their new show that they got coming to the channel. Our guy Bones as well, my man Bones from the VSN network. Alan Landsman as well was in the building. Mr. Chris Joseph was in the building as well. And it's an awesome time talking sports. I feel blessed all the time that I'm here with you guys, being able to come on the internet and be on the lookout because the Brew Crew t-shirts will be on the way. You'll have information where you guys can purchase them, but like always, peace, love, salutation, and from one Knick fan to the other Knick fan to another Knick fan. We all love you. And like always, a peace out, family. Deuces. What it do, Knick Nation? What it do? KOD Universe, stand up. And all you DJs, wake up and get your coffee.
I'ma slam on these goats like I'm John Starks. I'ma